Now, the fashion retailer H&M has been accused of sexualising young children in an advert for their new school uniform range. Joining me right now is Communications Manager, Ladies of Liberty Alliance, Jess Gill. Good afternoon to you. Lovely to meet you. You're kind of a common sense group offering training to women, sort of libertarian women in the political world. Absolutely fascinating and great to have you on the show. So what did you make of these adverts? Let's just show people. I mean, I have to describe them for those who are many, or in your audience who are listening rather than watching. But these adverts have got, you know, some clothes. There's a boy walking through on a sort of sage pink Barbie bus. He's got a green jacket on. You know, he looks good. He's looking cool. And two girls, twin girls, turn and look at him very sort of, you know, adoringly. And then there's a picture of these two girls in their little pinafore dresses. These children, by the way, all primary school aged, quite clearly, with their books, looking into the camera, very sort of sultry eyes, a sort of expression you might have expected from maybe an 18-year-old. But I'm thinking these children aren't past year 5 at school. And the tagline is, "Make those heads turn with your new school clothing." Now, I'm not sure that when I sent my child to school with her new school uniform or school clothing in her primary school years, I wanted her to make heads turn, or to in any way, you know, appeal to the opposite sex. What on earth is H&M thinking?
I think we forgot that we need to let children be children. I think the issue is, as we've seen through multiple examples, for example, Netflix's Cuties, I don't know if you're aware of that.
Oh, don't even.
Very young children are dancing very provocatively. This is tame compared to that, so I'm really not surprised by something like this. But like I said, why can't we just let kids be kids? Yeah. They shouldn't be focused on turning heads. They should be about looking professional, getting on with their work.
Being comfy and practical. I want to know, what washing load do they go in on? That's what I want to know. Because no, but these are, you know, nice pinafore dress. You know, they look like a uniform to me. You're not supposed to. The whole point of school uniforms, you're not supposed to turn heads. You're supposed to blend in and be clearly identified as part of that school, but look the same. The whole point of why this country has uniforms is that. And but the idea of these girls in, you know, year 4 or 5, whatever, are looking over, or year 6, looking over at a boy going, yeah, he looks good. I mean, maybe there are some kids who feel that way, but parents shouldn't be promoting that. And advertisers shouldn't be promoting that, should they?
Exactly. Where is this advertisement going to? Certainly not to the parents. Like you said, I think a mum would be more concerned about if stains come out during the wash, rather than if the thing is turning heads or not.
Yeah. Will the boys or the girls in my child's school fancy my kid because they're wearing these clothes? But what's interesting is when they put these out on social media, instant response, people go, "Oh yeah, love this," and people are loving it. I think part of the problem is the mums. And it is mostly the mums who buy this stuff, and they're loving it. But then the mums are often buying, you know, some really inappropriate clothing. They're very high sexualized, you know, bikinis for kids. You know, why is your baby wearing a bikini? For God, I mean, why is your baby wearing a bikini? But you know, I mean, I can remember seeing a mum whose kid, I mean, little kid, a primary school aged little girl. She had a T-shirt on, and in Diamante it had the word "sexy" across it. I mean, I'm sorry. On what planet is that normal and acceptable? And it's been normalised, this, hasn't it, the sexualisation of our children? And it's very worrying.
I think, again, it's because parents don't see children as children, but they see them as, like, accessories almost. Yeah. Again, it should be about preserving the next generation, maintaining their innocence and fostering them for a better world. But I don't think that's how a lot of parents see it. I will give mums some credit, however, because the ad was taken down after specifically Mumsnet, who seem to be the main group.
They're the arbiters of this stuff now.
Yeah, literally. They care about children being sexualised and also children being subjected to gender ideology. They seem to be the champions, the warriors for children.
And voters listen to them, and the retailers listen to them. But again, I think very much this is all about, you know, consumer power, and whether it's sort of, you know, woke companies lecturing us on things, or telling us, you know, we're bigots, so we're not allowed to buy their stuff. Hi, Wix. Still haven't bought anything from you since, and I've had lots of things to buy that from a similar store. But you know, you don't want my money, that's fine. But we should be using our consumer power and saying, no, this is unacceptable. Don't do this. And that's a power we do have, Tom Slater, isn't it? Because certainly the woke, you know, and people pushing a lot of this stuff, and there are a lot of people on the left pushing these sort of agendas about children, that you know, they use that power. We need to use it more to push back.
And I think you're already starting to see that as well, especially in the US with things like the Bud Light boycott and so on. People do have a lot of power when they decide to vote with their wallets. We saw it with Wix as well, as you were suggesting, when they came out so colourfully in favour of the whole gender ideology.
I still have my daughter talking to her friends like, no, we haven't got any Ben and Jerry's. Mum won't allow it in the house. No, damn right we won't allow it in the house.
And, you know, you'd wish we didn't have to fight these battles out over what ice cream you buy, but that is the age we live in.
But they chose to make it. They chose to tell us what they thought of people who had, you know, views that are like mine. And, you know, well, fine, if you don't want my money, I won't give it to you. They started it. We're totally in primary school playgrounds. But Charlotte, I mean, where does this all end? Because I do think a lot of parents they kind of wish their children's childhoods away now. And again, it's part of that's the consumer purchasing thing, like, you know, get them into the next thing and the next thing. But the sexualization of our children it's happening in not just adverts, it's happening in TV and films and modelling. I mean, again, even like the images of women we often see, you know, in adverts, whether it's perfume or anything, highly sexualized. But often, you know, it's not even an 18-year-old. It's someone who's clearly younger. Oh, she got perfect skin, no wrinkles. Yeah, that's because she's 16, mate. You know, and we you know, the constant sexualization in every advert, whatever it's for, it's not a surprise that it got into kids' clothing.
Yeah, I can give a classic example of this. I'm 20, and I remember when I was in year 7, that must be like 12 years old. Girls in my school, they would take pictures basically in bikinis, and they'd have the flash on so you can't see their face. And that was seen as normal at the time. That was seen
and
as
then
the
send them
popular
out
thing
to their groups.
Yeah, literally just public on Instagram for anyone to see, because again, it's just about getting another follower. And that can be seen by anyone, regardless of what their intention is, regardless of who it is. And so, yeah, I'm not surprised by things like this, because protecting children's innocence isn't seen as something we need to encourage.
No, but it's terrifying, isn't it, that is normalised. And again, you know, don't put a picture. I always said, don't put a picture anywhere that you don't want your head teacher to see. No, it's a really good rule. Like that's the, you know, it will be shared. It will go out there. I find also, and I'm sorry to do this to people, you know, but there's this pose that girls do. This sort of, and they do this weird sort of like peace sign thing, the duck face thing, and the showing of the bottom and the boobs at the same time. And it's like, this is not a normal way for girls to stand. And yet loads of girls doing it. I can remember having some of my daughter's kids' parties, and some of the kids would do some weird things like, okay, yeah, well, I'm not gonna, you know, I'm gonna literally delete any photo that has those poses in, so stop it. That's horrible.
I think we do need to designate parental responsibility and make parents parents again, because I think a lot of parents have just allocated that responsibility to the state, to schools and to
educators. Who aren't very good at it.
Well, look at like Drag Queen Story Hour, for example, towards children. I don't trust these people with educating the next generation when they're propagating this left-wing ideology, when groups like Stonewall and Mermaids are going into schools, giving workshops and encouraging kids to be trans, to dance around
and
with
they are
drag queens.
encouraging. They are saying, well, it's probably... I mean, we talked a lot about the culture wars and Keir Starmer. I'd love to get your thoughts just finally on, you know, Keir Starmer's basically saying, oh, Tories are trying to attack our institutions, they're starting the culture wars. Do you think he's right?
I don't think so. I think the culture war is just a reaction to what the left is doing. The left has pushed this divisive rhetoric with things like Black Lives Matter, with this transgender agenda. And when the Conservatives, who I don't believe are going hard enough on the culture war, what are they actually doing? A decade in government, and what have they actually achieved?
Well, why do you think they're not? Why are they not protecting our young girls being told that actually you should cut off your breasts and you should be a boy? I mean, why aren't they protecting those children?
I think they don't have actual power. If you look at the actual institutions, because of the civil service, they can't even get past immigration control, never mind anything else like that. They can't actually enforce anything, just censor something that can be considered moderate a few years back.
Are you worried about how much worse it's going to get, though?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to get any better. And again, it's institutional things. It's due to the civil service blocking it. It's due to lobbyist groups, like Stonewall, like Care for Claire, like that kind of thing. And it's due to, also, I don't think these politicians actually have the best interests of the people at heart.
Yeah, again, I mean, that's where a lot of us are right now. Really appreciate joining us. Jess Gill from the Ladies of Liberty Alliance. Great to have you in, talking a lot more sense than most of our politicians.